A Disabled Person Reviews Disabled Meteor Part 76, Cinder. This series had me in a chokehold in middle school, particularly because Cinder's the first character I ever met who experiences migraines, and I'm so happy to report that it is just as good a read as an adult, though the fact that it takes place during a plague is a little bit less fun. Now, Cinder is a cyborg, which means that part of her is synthetic, like she has several prosthetics and some of her internal mechanisms are artificial. Also, she has an operating system, so we get to see her adjust her interface like somebody might adjust a hearing aid. We see her grow out of a prosthetic and not be able to afford a new one. We see her struggle with getting sore from using crutches when she no longer has a prosthetic and how much that slows her down, and also how she's dehumanized with disability words such as deformed, freak, and inhuman. And in this world, there's also a cyborg draft where they become test subjects for the cures for the disease because they should be grateful for the doctors saving their lives by making them cyborgs, and now they owe them back because they shouldn't have lived that long to begin with, which brings in a strong overlap between prosthetics and medicine, and also the dehumanization of these people. There's also a concept introduced later in the book of a shell, which is that some lunar children are born without the lunar powers and they're killed for it. So again, we see this disability undercurrent of mercy killings and otherwise infanticide. And also Cinder is a ward under a guardianship and therefore loses all monetary and medical autonomy, which is very much abused by her caregiver. And we see her get her prosthetic taken away as a sort of punishment, and denying necessary medical or accessibility aids as a form of abuse is unfortunately very common for disabled people. So for a 2010s fantasy book that definitely is not meant to be about disability, the author included so many important disability concepts into this dystopia that we very much have today and handled them all really, really, really well given the era that it came out. I went into this book expecting to see a lot more of the like, oh, it's fine she uses prosthetics because actually they make her a superhero and she has fancy prosthetics with guns and wrenches and knives and stuff to make up for it. That's usually the only time we ever see prosthetics in media, and she does at the end of the book get some fancy weaponry prosthetics, but the majority of the time the fact that she is a cyborg is very much a disability that has both its advantages and disadvantages, and because the world discriminates against her, it feels more disadvantage heavy to her. But if I remember correctly, she gets more confident over the course of the series and it sort of turns into a superpower of sorts. Speaking of which, because the series is all loosely based on fairy tales and almost every single fairy tale involves some aspect of disability, nearly every single book in the series introduces a new disability concept. So let me know if you'd be interested in a review of every single Lunar Chronicles book, because I would be happy to make that sacrifice.